Okay, here goes with a few talking points from the 2026 Chinese Grand Prix. The main news from it is Kimi Antonelli won the race, and that was obviously his first ever Grand Prix victory. And Lewis Hamilton finished third, which is his first podium position for Ferrari. Now, as I have told you time and time again, the Formula One show is a circus, something to distract us all with, something to entertain people, and there is a lot of contrivances going on. So I don't really believe in the authenticity of the show because of the amount of contrivance that we see. This channel is not here as a Formula One fanboy channel. What I'll do, I'll expose the bullshit. And there's a reason I set this up. The reason I set the channel up was to expose the clear lies that were told to us about Abu Dhabi 2021. Now, what I've done during the race, I made recordings of what I was seeing. When you screen record from Now TV, which is where I watch it, it just comes up with black. So I'm going to take you through some of the audio that I've recorded and talk you through what I said at the time, because some of the recordings I actually spoke at the time, and we'll just see how valid those observations I was making at the time. Now, I'm not going to go through them all in this video, just a few. I just want to take you through this first, because this is key. Let's just have a quick look at
what they're
this.
willing to do in America to make sure nobody remembers the Palestinians. You can already see getting laws passed, how we're going to retell history. I mean, they're saying it on stage.
Like Mike
How we're going to retell history.
Pompeo went on this thing and he said, like, the way that we're going to remember October 7th is not going to how we remember it today. It's very important that people remember this as Israel being the victim, because
Israel the victim. Red Bull did nothing wrong. Red Bull had nothing to lose. How do you unravel that? You can't unravel that. Max did nothing wrong. Max is the victim.
there was no victims in Gaza.
We need to make sure that the story is told properly. So
Absolutely right. You do need to. I've clicked off the wrong bit. You need to make sure the story is told properly. And all of the media told you the story the same way. Isn't that funny? And this is what I'm saying. People, more and more people, are waking up because they're seeing what's taking place in the world. They're seeing the atrocities taking place. They're seeing that America is the evil empire going around the world, invading countries, stealing their resources so that their rich banking class, the likes of Vanguard, BlackRock, and all that lot, can seize control of the world's resources and make billions out of it. And it's essentially controlled by Epstein's Israel, okay, that has got their leaders of all of the countries on a string because they've got all of the leverage over them. Either the countries owe the Rothschilds banking system, okay, so they're all beholden to that, or Epstein's got some dirt on them. You know, they've attracted these high-powered people into having sex with children. I know, they'll like doing this. So let's offer them to have some sex with some children, and then we'll film that, and then we've got some blackmail material, and they'll do what we want them to do. Now that's rather strange, isn't it? That all these leaders of these countries and all these people that are high-powered people in charge of making decisions, yeah, it's funny that that's what they're into, isn't it? And if you're not that sort of person that can be blackmailed, what you have the likes of the CIA, Mossad, MI6, all essentially the same, right? That'll just affect regime change anyway. If you won't agree to handing over your control of resources to the empire, then what happens is they either blackmail you into doing it, or they'll just come and take you out and take them anyway. And that's what they thought they could do with Iran. They tried to incite conflict within the country. I'm not saying the regime within the country was a great regime. We don't know the true reality of it. And it's highly likely that a section of society would have felt it to be, in some ways, an oppressive regime. I don't fully know. But what definitely seems to be going on is the CIA, Mossad, MI6 involves itself, because it does it time and time again, in funding uprising against the regime, creating and instability within the country, overthrowing the rulers, and then putting in place their own government, who is just a puppet, and then who signs all the deals and hands over all the rights to all the wealth to the banking class, the Epstein class, all on behalf of who's controlling this world. Oh, well, it all kind of goes back to the notion of Israel, doesn't it? Okay, so let's just go back into this video.
What they're willing to do in America to make sure nobody remembers the Palestinians. You can already see getting laws passed, how we're going to retell history. I mean, they're saying it on stage.
Yeah, like my
They've already retold history. The version of history we've all been fed is all a load of bollocks.
Pompeo went on this thing and he said, like, the way that we're going to remember October 7th is not going to how we remember it today. It's very important that people remember this as Israel being the victim because there was no victims in Gaza.
We need to make sure that the story is told properly so that when the history books write this, they don't write about the victims of Gaza.
Yeah, make sure the way we tell this is the right way of telling it. Yeah, to fit their agenda, their narrative. Exactly what they did in Formula One, real time when Abu Dhabi 2021 was being fixed.
I have a friend of mine who went to the Cannes Film Festival last year, 1 year after October 7th, and they were already have pledged over $200 million to produce TV shows, movies, in order to retell October 7th from the Israeli point of view. They are changing history in front of us right now. And I think this is not
Yeah, they did that real time, Abu Dhabi 2021.
Just about what happened or what happens in Palestine. Because of how people saw the gaslighting happening in real time and how the lying is happening in real time.
Funny that, isn't it? Will they let the lap runners through? I'm not sure it's mandatory, but that's normally on a wet day where they don't. And if they do, how long will they wait? Are we going to get these cars out of the way of the race between the leaders? Oh, it's a typical decision. I'm not surprised. It's classic. Israel Verstappen, the victim. Oh, we think the safety car will come in at the end of this lap, and there will be one racing lap. And it's ending. Wow. Yeah, gaslighting, real time. What's the purpose of the rules? You didn't talk us through the fact that Lando Norris was racing Pierre Gasly, and Nicholas Latifi crashes by design, and then the safety car comes out and picks up the leader, Lewis Hamilton, and Norris has to wait behind the leader whilst they deal with the incident. Gasly disappears off around the track and gains a lap on Norris now, and so there's a mandatory procedure prior to the resumption of racing where you reset sporting fairness to all competitors. Very simple. Clear regulations that achieve that. Oh, I'm not sure that that's mandatory, but that's normally on a wet day where they don't. And if they do decide that they're going to choose to do that, how long will they wait by chucking these cars out of the way, by just getting them out of the way of the race between the leaders, and then we can go racing again? Woohoo, kiddies! Lying. Gaslighting to a global audience of 108.7 million people. And wasn't it strange that it seems like every commentary team in every different language couldn't identify the rules being broken? Israel Verstappen, always the victim.
People now are reconsidering everything they were told about history. From World War II to JFK to 9/11 to the Iraq War, because we have seen an Olympic level gaslighting, because Israel doesn't just lie to hide the truth. They lie recreationally. They just do because it's fun for them.
And it's all about money. Okay, who made money? Oh, well, Liberty Media is worth more billions now. Yeah, because they value their business much more. And every Formula One team is worth billions more now because they value their Formula One teams as more, because they've got more eyes watching, they can influence more minds, and that's of value to them. This is the way it is, so start waking up and do what you need to do to wake others up to the dynamics of the situation. Many of you will have better talent than I have at producing content and using your knowledge and the examples that you can give to demonstrate to people that we're all being lied to by the media in servitude to the narrative of the Epstein class, the billionaire class, who actually run all of the countries that we live in. It's not our elected governments. The notion of we living in the free West, Western democracy, where we elect people to represent the needs of the people, and then the decisions of the country are made so that the lives of the people of the country are best served, the needs of the people are served, the infrastructure of the country is continually developed and improved for improvements in life. That's all a lie. That's all a lie. Our standard of living is going backwards. Our lives are actually being made harder. We're becoming even more enslaved. We're having to work harder and be kept in greater struggle. But who is benefiting from that? Oh, it's the billionaire class, isn't it? Everything is a bullshit narrative. We get taxed. We have to pay the burden of climate change. The world in which we live in, the planet in which we exist on, is the climate of it is changing. So what we're going to have to do, oh, you're all going to have to work hard and pay more tax as a result of that. Oh, well, that's because of the carbon that we're producing. And because we're burning so much fuel, it's producing carbon dioxide. That's heating the planet up. So what do? Oh, America, the empire, goes and burns oil, goes and bombs oil reserves and burns a load of oil. So how much pollution is being produced from that? Does the empire have to pay for that? No, it's you and me that pays for that. It's you and me that is paying for all the bombs that are being dropped on other people, people like you and me, being killed, being slaughtered by the empire, by the people who are like you and me, who have signed up under the lie of protecting our fellow people against threats to us. Iran's not a threat to us. People of Iran just want to get on with their lives. They were getting on with their lives until the empire started killing them, started blowing them up to try and steal its reserves, steal its land, impact those people. Oh, we've gone in to liberate the people. No, you've not. You've gone in to steal. You've gone into effect regime change so that you could rape the benefits of that country. You've gone in on behalf of Israel so Israel can expand and become the head of the empire in that location where there is a rich resource for the world. They've already gone into Venezuela, taken the world's largest oil reserve. Now they want the Iranian oil reserves so they control all of the world's oil, because that's the only way they keep the value of the US dollar. We control all the oil, and then that props up the American economy, props up the American billionaire. That's what happens. Wake up, everybody. We're living under the evil empire, and you aren't benefiting from it. You're a slave to it. Every single one of us is a slave to that empire. It's only the so-called elite class, the billionaire class, that benefit from it. And there will be people that will serve at different levels within, and they'll be living an existence where they'll be comfortable, so they'll carry on serving. They're doing all right. They're on 100 grand a year, so they'll carry on doing. The system is working for them. They can live a relatively comfortable life. But the vast majority of us, that's not the case. They've made society, they've made the cost to live so much that you have to meet the cost to live. So therefore you have to go to work just to meet the cost to live. You're enslaved, and they keep you enslaved through manipulation, through manipulating the cost for you to exist. How much you've got to pay each month just to not sink. Oh, it's called inflation. The value, the price that you'll pay for the things that you need to survive will constantly be manipulated. The interest rates will constantly be manipulated, because that's another way they keep adjusting the cost it is for you to live. And where does that money go? it ultimately ends up in the pockets of the billionaires. It's taken from us in taxes. The taxes should be there for the continual improvement of the country's infrastructure, the funding of the essential services, essential for our lives and essential for the running of a civilized society. But no, that's not what happens. What happens is the government award contracts to billionaires, enabling the billionaire to profit out of everything. That's what it does. Oh, we'll sell you the water rights that the people need water in our country. We'll sell the billionaires the water companies, and now the billionaire can stop improving the water infrastructure. Although we're building new houses, which require more water now, which require more sewage facilities to take away waste. These water companies, they won't invest in improving the infrastructure to cater for that need. No, but they'll keep charging people more. They'll keep taking more from the more people that are living in the area. They won't bother treating the sewage. They'll dump the sewage into the seas and into the rivers, and they'll pay all their shareholders. Oh, and now we've got no money. Sorry, we've got no money. We need the government to help us out. Yeah, keep allowing the billionaires to exploit, because this is capitalism. Capitalism. Yes, the job of the CEO is not to run an effective business that functions and serves the needs of the customers. No, it's to maximize the profits for the shareholder. That's legal. These are public services. And the legal responsibility of the CEO isn't to the service users, it's to the shareholders. Capitalism, where you win capitalism by exploiting everybody else maximally. Anyway, let's have a look at the talking points. Here's the first talking point of the Chinese Grand Prix.
Happens thinking on the soft tyres he needs to make gains, and he came into that first turn with so much extra speed, managed to get past Arvid Lindblad but couldn't keep the car on the track.
There we go. First time of the season, Max goes into a corner with so much extra speed. Now, had this have been Karun Chandok, what we normally get is Max Verstappen, Israel Verstappen is able to carry so much extra speed that it's understeer, understeer, understeer. Okay, which means, right, you're going too fast and your car's not going to make it around the corner at that speed. Try, those of you that are the strap-on fanboys, that real motor racing fans, you've got your motor racing chair that you play your computer games on. What I want you to do is, as you're going on your computer game, you take all your cheat modes off, and just when you're driving around your racing tracks, doing your racing games, because you're almost as good as a Formula One driver yourself. As you're approaching a corner, just don't hit the brakes, don't down change, just carry all that speed into the corner. See what happens. See what happens. And let me know what you think in the comments section about what happens. Can you carry so much extra speed and the car stay on the track and make it around the corner? Or do you just crash? Okay, but Max Verstappen can carry so much extra speed, and when the car doesn't make it around the corner, that's just understeer, understeer, understeer. No, that's shit driving. That's what it is. It's shit driving, and it's not acceptable. It's dangerous. That's what it is. But we'll listen to what they say.
So, opportunity there for him, but opportunity not taken. Let's go to Bernie Collins. In 2 seconds, let's have a look at the start first. And Kimi Antonelli doing what his teammate did yesterday, pointing to the right to try and cover off the fast-starting Ferraris. So they said, let's go around the outside.
Lewis went to look to the...
You see, we've seen races where Max was in the Red Bull, that would stick to the track like shit to a blanket, because it was all this ground effect downforce. It was more powerful than all the other cars. The aerodynamic effects of it were stronger than all of the other cars. So not only was it faster in a straight line, it handled better, and it got driver aids on it. So when Max is driving that sort of thing, he can just throw it around at the outside with full confidence, okay, knowing that it will just stick. And that was amazing. Right, that was, oh, Max Verstappen is going around the outside. Only Max can do this because he's the best you've ever seen. Would have been the narrative we got.
To the middle of the two Mercedes and then thought, okay, I'll just drive around the outside of you as well then. And he made that work, but Leclerc right round the outside, look, of Russell, tried to put himself, of Antonelli, tried to put himself on the inside, and but Antonelli just about had enough momentum to hang on to it.
And, you know, Ferrari can do that because Ferrari's just better at going around corners. Yeah, it wasn't the Red Bull that was better at going around corners, and it wasn't better also in a straight line. It was Max Verstappen being the best you've ever seen.
Just at the bottom of your screen, you might have seen Sergio Perez trying to find a gap that wasn't there, hence the contact with Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, how many times has Max Verstappen tried to find a gap that wasn't there?
Leclerc got a good start as well, but he's got his teammate right in front of him, so he couldn't carry any extra speed in towards turn one, and that's why he had to eventually play second best too.
If you can't carry that extra speed, you have to play second best. You have to yield. Yeah, you have to back out. You have to realise you have to make a judgment call that no, that's not acceptable for me to be doing that. I can't do that. I can't carry that much speed into the corner and make it around that corner. Or there's another car on track and I'm not entitled to be in that space. So you can't carry that much extra speed. But not Super Max. Max can.
Antonelli, oh, that was tight, wasn't it? Over the curb and the rear just snapping as well for good measure as he tries to put his foot down. Let's see what it looked like on board with Max Verstappen.
Bogged down again.
Yeah, not a great.
It bogged down. The car bogged down. It wasn't Max's input to the car that made it back bogged down. Wasn't that, was it? It was just the car did it. I mean, the car was just sat there like ticking over, wasn't it? Max is there in his car, waiting for the lights to go out to start. And what's the car doing? Nothing. Then Max does something to the car, and the car doesn't take off very well. I said, is it that Max didn't put the inputs into the car to make it take off very well? Didn't start the car very well? Could it be that?
Great getaway once again. Cars overtaking him on the left and the right.
How frustrating must that be? Once again for Max. Bogged down again.
Yeah, not a great getaway once again. Cars over.
And there seemed to be a bit of a lag on a gear change there. Did you miss a gear, Max? Did you get a gear change wrong?
Taking him on the left and the right measure as he tries to put his foot down. Let's see what it looked like on board with Max Verstappen.
Bogged down again.
Yeah, not a great getaway once again. Cars overtaking him on the left and the right.
Hopefully you picked up when you heard that on the revs. It sounded like he kind of got a gear change wrong. Bogged down. Well, why is that? Because you're not matching the revs to what you need to launch. Because that's what normally happens. If you don't get the revs right for what the revs you need to when you launch, when you drop the clutch, you're going to bog down. Is that the car's fault, or is that the person putting the inputs into the car's fault?
Right.
How frustrating must that be? Once again for Max Verstappen to see cars just appearing from either side and shooting past him. This is the gap that wasn't there for Sergio Perez.
Oh dear.
As he spun his teammate round, I think, and himself in the process.
You could kind of.
The gap that wasn't there. But no, it always is there for Max. Oh, he's made the gap, has Max?
See that one happening a few metres before that.
No further investigation by the stewards, and that was Isaac Hadjar losing it all by himself.
It was, cold tyres on the exit. This is the move from Behrman. Oh, he just couldn't hang on to it and runs out wide. And if you overtake a car by then going off the circuit, you have to let them by. But Hadjar.
If you overtake a car by going off the circuit, you have to let them by. What about Bahrain, everybody? What about Bahrain 2021? What about that? If you overtake a car by going off the circuit, you have to give it back. Yeah, but Lewis Hamilton exceeded track limits. Yeah, they briefed everybody before the race that they wouldn't be monitoring track limits there. So what Hamilton did was use his experience and go, they've told us they're not going to be monitoring that. They're not going to be penalising for that. So if my lap time can be improved by exceeding track limits there, going over the white line, they've already told us they're not going to worry about that. Max also did a similar thing. not as frequently, but when Max decided he wanted to throw his rattle out of the pram, okay, oh, I can't get by Lewis. Lewis is going off the track. Yeah, you two are as well, Max. So we'll let everybody aware of that. We'll incite the fanboys. Oh, yeah. Look, Lewis is doing something wrong. Lewis is doing something wrong. We'll point the finger. We'll rewrite history. And then Max does perform an overtake by going off the track and becomes the victim. Oh, I'm the victim now because they made me give the place back. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. Everybody knows that. Yeah, but. No. But they told everybody before the start of the race how to do it. And now you're just trying to make excuses. You're trying to incriminate somebody else. You're inciting your little fanboy tribe to then be the victims again, aren't you? Yeah, funny that.
Was passed anyway. And look at that. I mean, Hagel's...
If you're Ollie Behrman, you're driving straight to the side of a Red Bull there. Great reactions, and this was Max Verstappen losing over a second at turn 1 as he had that massive moment of oversteer.
Yeah.
So it's a moment of oversteer, according to Crofty. I mean, according to Karoon, he's carried so much extra speed into a corner that it's understeer. According to Crofty, he's carried so much extra speed into the corner, he's had that moment of oversteer.
A Red Bull there. Great reactions, and this was Max Verstappen losing over a second at turn 1 as he had that massive moment of oversteer.
Yeah, just had that snapped in the mid-corner. So Hamilton sitting there 2.8 seconds back, and I just got a feeling that he's really nursing things at this stage with his tyres. I've got a feeling that the car has a bit more pace in it, and he's just staying out of the wake of the car in front of George Russell, and that's the best strategy when it comes to tyre graining. Tyre graining, by the way, is when the tyre starts to blister up and sort of roll its rubber away from either side. Usually starts around the middle of the tyre we've been seeing in testing.
That's lovely. Thanks, Ratboy. So the next one was during the safety car situation. That was long. Well, I'm not going to go through that one in this video. We'll try this one. We've now got the commentators talking like this.
By the way, Behrman may feel like he was squeezed out wide, perhaps, from Lindblad through turn 14. There was, I think, a little bit of contact. We have to see if there's a replay later on when or if this race calms down at the front.
Those two.
Yeah, we can now identify that somebody might be being squeezed off the track and there's a bit of contact. So let's see if there's any penalties. Might not be penalties, but at least the commentators are finally acknowledging that there's something wrong there. Strange. So that was what I spoke about as I made that recording during the race. A couple more. Okay, so we're on lap 20 of 56, and what's going on track? There's 5 cars. You've got Colapinto in the Alpine. You've got Behrman, Ocon, Gasly, and then Verstappen. And you've got the 2 Hasses challenging each other. You've got Gasly then trying to challenge the 2 Hasses. And by doing that, Gasly opens the door for Verstappen to make the move on him. So listen to this.
Touching as Ocon swoops to the right-hand side and almost collects Pierre Gasly. Verstappen on the inside now with Pierre Gasly, pushes him out wide, makes his move through and up into 8th place.
That was a proper hard, vintage Max Verstappen move there on Pierre Gasly.
Oh, he likes the proper hard, vintage Max Verstappen move, does Ratboy. Ratboy likes that.
Of that in turn 2. He's not messing around right now as he hunts down that fight in front of him between the Hasses and the solo Alpine of Franco Colapinto, who continue.
Remember that, the proper hard vintage Verstappen move. Yeah, chucking your car at another car. If it doesn't yield out the way, there's a collision. Proper hard vintage Verstappen move. Do you see anybody else drive proper hard vintage like that, or are all the other drivers able to contest for position in a relatively fair way without really colliding with each other?
used to scrap Ocon and Behrman ever so hard. Right, running on board with George Russell here. He's got Leclerc in front of him.
That incident, by the way, Ollie Behrman and Arvid Lindblad, that you picked up on, has been noted by Race Control for just being a little bit too close for comfort. George Russell.
Right. So again, of these cars now, so you've got Colapinto, Behrman, Ocon. Max Verstappen's now running 8th. But of them, when the safety car was deployed, the cars that started on the hard compound tyre didn't pit. They stayed out on track. So similar to the first Grand Prix, when you don't pit and then you have to pit during the race conditions, your pit stop loses more time relative to those around you. So that might be what we end up seeing here.
So the point of me making that at that stage, at the start of the race, Max Verstappen lost a shitload of positions, almost went to the back of the grid. Second but last, maybe. Right, because everybody overtook him. And let's be clear about what really happened. Max Verstappen was on grid position 8. 2 of the cars in front of him didn't start the race. The 2 McLarens in positions 5 and 6 weren't even there. So essentially, Max was the 6th car. He went from 6th down to second but last. And there were 4 cars that didn't even start. The 2 McLarens, who was it that didn't start? Can't remember who didn't start. I think it might have been one of the Audis. And I think there's another car, maybe one of the Williams that didn't start. All right, so he's gone down to second but last. His teammate had just spun. There's been various other incidents going on, making Max make a few positions. There's been overtakes. So this Red Bull's no slouch of a car because it's clearly faster than everything else. He's got himself back up to 8th, but again, there's been a pit stop window. Okay, he might have lost out in terms of the time that he's lost to other cars where they can pit and lose less time. But that being said, all of the cars are bunched up. So all of the field spread has been wiped out. So he's got the benefit of it all bunching up again. He's overtaken the slower cars and he's got himself back up to 8th. But then 2 of them cars didn't pit during that safety car window anyway. So they're going to pit and get out of his way. Which means it puts him, when they do, that would put him up to 6th again, which is where he started the race. Now, what are you doing there? You're in a car that people will call a tractor, that you drove badly because you didn't get it off the line. You dropped all the way to the back of the field, and then you were able to, your car's fast enough to overtake everybody else, and all the goings on were such that, the other cars weren't making it particularly difficult for you. The time advantages, well, they were all wiped out. Your teammate, Hadjar, he dropped to almost the back of the grid. And what did happen then? He was still able to make it up to 8th position. Now, this is Hadjar in a Red Bull. Hadjar in a tractor. He can make it from the back of the grid up to finish 8th in that race. And is he the best you've ever seen? Is that a magnificent performance from Hadjar doing that? Or is it just Max? Oh, well, it's a magnificent performance for Max to get it up to 6th. Really? I'm not seeing greatness there. I'm not seeing anything extraordinary, out of the ordinary.
There might be 2 of these cars that will disappear out of Max's way by when they pit because they didn't pit under safety car. And they're running on older tyres, which are going to expire. They're going to potentially have less grip than.
You see, I know what's going to happen is that the way that the audience is on this channel, the algorithm of YouTube, what it does, rather than recommend my content to the 108.7 million people that the sport defrauded when they defrauded the global watching audience of Abu Dhabi 2021, rather than YouTube recognize the value of that, the value of revealing to the people that you've all been lied to, you've all been defrauded. And so the notion of social media enabling true information to be exposed to the masses of the population. No, the mystery algorithm means that, oh, it's the quality of the video that means that it won't be recommended to them. That would be the reason. But what it does recommend it to it is the haters, the strap-on fanboys, those that like to come to troll, to discredit. And those who come to troll, to discredit, will be going, oh, this channel is just about hate. It's just about hate. You're vile. You're this, you're that. Discredit the content creator because that's your technique. And the reality is, prior to the 2021 season, I don't think any of us hated Max Verstappen. I certainly didn't. I didn't hate him. You know, he was just another Formula One racing car driver, just in the same way every single one of them is. I don't hate Kimi Antonelli. I don't hate George Russell. I don't hate Charles Leclerc. Didn't hate Carlos Sainz. Don't hate Lando Norris. Don't hate Oscar Piastri. No, don't hate any of them. They are what they are. Some I like more than others. Some I dislike. And there's reasons for that. I don't like the way that some of them drive. I don't like the way that some of them conduct themselves. That's the way it is. The difference with Max Verstappen is that he does drive in an illegal manner, in an unacceptable manner, a harmful manner. He does things which are dangerous. The show hypes him up and presents him as being the best ever. The show doesn't apply penalties to Max Verstappen that they should. The show manufactured him to be the 2021 championship by breaking the rules of the sport to award him that. The entire thing was fraudulent because the commentators of the sport were lying about the rules of the sport before the so-called error. The crash by Latifi was an entire construct, and were it not for the car catching fire, they'd have gotten away with that without any of us really realising it was actually just another repeat of Crashgate 2008. So, the algorithm won't tell the people that because that will cost the fraudulent show billions. And it's the same owners of social media, the billionaire class, those, the likes of BlackRock, Vanguard, the empire, the banking empire, that control everything, really. They control the information that we're fed. They control the narrative. They control the version of history. And what they've done, they've created this monster of Max Verstappen for the fanboys, you know, the kiddies that are excited by crashes. Okay, they like the fact that there's somebody that just thinks that he's invincible, can drive his car around, and if you don't get out of his way, there's a big crash, and then you're told that he's the best you've ever seen. And when he's winning, it's because he's the best you've ever seen, and when he's not winning, it's because the car is not very good. But everybody else, when they're winning, it's only because they've got the best car, and when they're not winning, it's because they're shit. That's what it is in the eyes of these fanatics who the algorithm gets recommended. My channel gets recommended to the fanatics to come here to try to undermine the content. But you go, oh, it's because you hate Max. No, I didn't hate Max. But the dynamics that have been created are dynamics of toxicity. What they've done, they've tried to create this thing that they've boosted as being the victim, the best, entitled. And it's not. I can see things for what they are. He's not the best you've ever seen. He drives in an illegal manner. He's not. He has got certain attributes in that he can drive a fast car consistently round a track at good speed. But there's many of them that can do that. What the others can do as well, and not all 20 of them can do that. Some can do it better than others. But there's certainly 6 or 7 of those drivers on the grid that can, in the best car on the grid, will just dominate a race in it. That's what they'll do. That's all that Max did. There's some of those drivers, though, that can race wheel to wheel with each other, as we're seeing. And even, you look at the battles between the Ferraris and the Mercedes. Those cars, the Mercedes is clearly the faster car, but for a period of time, what we're seeing is some wheel-to-wheel racing. And we're seeing overtakes without one car having to resort to running the other car out of track room. Cars are going round the track side by side, contesting for position. Max doesn't do that. Max will just fuck you off the track. And that is what then the kiddies get conditioned. Oh, this is motor racing. It's a contact sport. It's Donkey Derby when it comes to Max Verstappen. That's not hate. Who created it that way? Who made it that way? Who incited the fanboys that way? They created the hate. They tribalised people. They created the division. It wasn't me. They did that. They perpetrated the crime. They committed a fraud. I'm the person that's calling it out. By calling it out, you end up being abused. You end up being trolled. I experienced it for a year when I was on Facebook. I experienced the hate. I was just writing articles, clearly explaining things. What did I get? Hate and abuse. I started making videos, clearly explaining the situation. What did I get? Hate and abuse. Projecting me as being hateful, when all I was doing was just clearly explaining the clear dynamics of the situation, clearly exposing a fraud. And they seek to present to undermine me. So, fuck them. Okay? They are what they are. It's all part of an agenda. Alright? All part of an agenda. And these little fanboys, well, unfortunately, they don't realise that they're slave class as well. They don't realise that they think they're winning because their favourite driver is winning. They think they're fighting for the honour of their favourite driver. You're a slave class. You're like me. You're slave class. You're dirt. The billionaires think you are scum, which is exactly what they think of me. So, I am not your problem. They are. They will happily dispose of any single one of us. They don't want us on their planet. They want the planet for themselves. They want all the riches for themselves. They want all the luxury for themselves. They want to be able to do what they want without consequence. They want to exploit, have, greed. And they do that by exploiting every single one of us, by lying, by controlling the information, getting us to believe things to be a certain way, because that makes them money. That keeps the little ants fighting each other that they're laughing at, whilst they're the ones that are benefiting from putting on a show, getting you all to invest your time, emotion, and money into that show. And all that time, emotion, and money ends up in their hands. And whilst you're focusing your time and emotion on Formula One and your favourite driver, you're not thinking about the other atrocities that they're perpetrating. You're not thinking about how many people in this world they're going out and killing, murdering, blowing up, so that they can steal and rape the resources. You're not thinking about all of these elected leaders of these countries, all these powerful positions, all the banking class being flown over to Epstein's Island and raping women and children just because that's what they're into. You're not thinking about that. Whilst you're cheering, waving your flag, letting off your orange flare, you're not thinking that all these banking companies, they're insider trading. What they're doing, they're passing information from governments to bankers saying, right, government is now going to be doing this. That means we're either going to award a government contract to this company here. Go and buy shares in them, and then the value of that will go up when we hand them that contract. The banking class makes millions. Oh, you didn't buy the shares in them, did you? Oh, no, but they did. Yeah, they bought them off you when you had the shares, but the share price looked like it could be going down. It was nobody knew. Might have been going down, so you were probably advised to sell them. They bought them off you. Oh, but they were just been awarded a contract, and now they've decided that that business is worth a lot more now. Oh, and they've made a lot of gains out of that. You didn't. You lost. Or when they know that a business is going to fail, oh, buy this, buy this. This is on the. Oh, you bought that. Oh, sorry, it's just failed now. You lose. Yeah, all of this Epstein class stuff. They're not focusing on the financial crime element of it. No, but carry on watching Max Verstappen, the best you've ever seen. Carry on cheering and watching Formula One. It's only live once. Carry on letting off your orange flare. This is just a hate channel. I'm not looking out for you. I'm not trying to teach you what the truth is, am I? I'm just here to hate Max Verstappen. Just here to be an anti-Maxer.
So we're now getting a replay of the Max Verstappen on Pierre Gasly manoeuvre. They start it from coming down the start-finish straight, and you've got Colapinto, the lead Alpine. You've got the two Haas cars almost side by side, and then you've got Gasly following them, and Max Verstappen is a little bit further back. The two Haas cars are compromising Gasly that's behind them, and let's just play this through.
Then he'll have overtake mode available.
So Gasly looks to try and lunge down the inside, but really he gets a bit squeezed, and that really compromises him, slows him a little bit. Max Verstappen is several car lengths back at the moment, when there's like three cars, two Hasses and the Alpine are all like literally nose to tail, and Max is about 3 or 4 car lengths back at the moment.
Gasly said this wasn't fair.
The move from Verstappen down the inside.
So we're now going round what is turn 1. It's almost like a big sweeping hairpin. Those 3 cars have literally compromised their speed, and Max has carried so much extra speed that he's now pretty much on the back of Gasly.
Side and really start.
Got the inside line around the corner because Gasly's a bit out of shape because of how the two Haas cars have impacted him. So now Max is fully alongside. In fact, he's slightly ahead. He's like literally the length of his nose cone ahead of Gasly.
Wanted to run him out wide. He had the inside,
and then he squeezes him. It literally runs across and squeezes him. Listen to Gasly now.
I think that was fair.
No,
Rat Boy thinks it's fair.
I think he meant the Hasses.
Oh, the Hasses, yeah.
So Crofty's turning our attention to saying that Gasly's saying it's the Hasses, but now we've got the on board with Gasly.
It was just
and we're seeing Max Verstappen chop across him.
Max, he does mean this because there was contact.
Yeah, and there looks to be slight contact between Max's rear and the front wing of Gasly. Let me just whether we get ever Sky Sports play replay that, I don't know.
Wasn't fair. Warn me of the.
Yeah, there was contact.
I'm sorry, that wasn't fair.
Copy that, mate. We've reported it.
To be fair, I didn't see the contact until the on-board, so yeah, you think again with that one. You shouldn't really be seeing cars hit each other.
Rubbing is racing, surely.
It's a
Rubbing is racing, surely. Validate that. No.
Now, I know the strap-on fanboy likes to do a lot of rubbing, okay? But lads, you just sat there in your bedroom doing your rubbing doesn't make you a real racer, okay? So, you know, rubbing isn't racing.
No, that's causing a collision, and you're crowding the other car on this track. You're driving into the space that the other car is entitled to be in.
contact sport, Crofty.
Yeah, motor racing isn't a contact sport, Crofty. That's stock car racing. Listen to Rat Boy.
I know we were watching the Aussie Rules football last weekend. That very much is a contact sport.
Go the Pies. Go!
Do you understand that, strap-on fanboys? That motor racing isn't a contact sport. Just listen to the commentary again.
Reported it.
To be fair, I didn't see the contact until the on-board, so yeah, you think again with that one. You shouldn't really be seeing cars hit each other.
Rubbing is racing, surely.
It's a non-contact sport, Crofty.
Rubbing is racing. Rubbing is racing. Anyway, what you can see here, you can see this white bar. Where it is there is where the live is. And what I'm doing, because I'm stopping this and dragging it back and then recording elements of it and talking, I'm when I'm watching these Grand Prix, I'm lagging from what actually is really going on real time. So yeah, I probably end up seeing the end of the race quite some time after it actually finishes. But it is what it is. I've had enough of talking through some of these elements. There's quite, you can see from the videos that I produce, not that I took. There was quite a few. So you know, them black thumbnails there are the ones that I recorded something that was said or happened during the race as a talking point. And quite honestly, some of them have got relevance, but it's actually quite, I see it as being quite, well, it's a circus, isn't it? What's more important is people wake up to the real dynamics of what's actually happening in the world. Because what is happening over in the Middle East, what's happened to Gaza, Israel carpet bombing the shit out of a country, genociding the population, killing what will be in excess of 100,000 people with impunity, without consequence. Nobody intervened. Nobody stopped them. We're supposed to have the United Nations, a so-called humanitarian force. Nobody stood up to Israel. Nobody said, that's illegal. Why are you killing those people? Nobody protected those people. Now they're trying to do the same thing with the Lebanon. They are trying to do exactly the same thing, wiping out people, destroying all of the property on the land that they will then take over, expanding their borders, increasing the size of their country that they want to take, making Israel bigger, more dominant, wiping people out. That's the world that we're living in. And we're supposed to live in a civilized world. We're supposed to respect countries' boundaries. Over the course of time, there's been warfare, there's been conflict around the world. You'd have thought we'd have evolved to a species where we recognized that that kind of conflict, that level of domination, it's not acceptable. We've all got human rights. We're all allowed to live. Now, we shouldn't be going and oppressing other life forms. We shouldn't be killing them just to steal from them, which is what is happening. Exactly what Israel is doing. And everybody stood by and just watched. Now, if it can happen to them, who's going to stand up for you if they decide you're next? Oh, you're not going to be next because you don't live over there. But you don't live there now, but like during the Second World War, everybody thought, oh, it doesn't affect us. That's just over there. That's over there. That doesn't affect us. Okay. Oh, they've beaten them. Now they're moving this way a little bit. Oh, they're now onto them. They're killing all them. But that's still over there. Don't worry about that. Oh, it's moving a bit closer to us. They're killing all them. Oh yeah, but don't worry. That doesn't affect us. Oh, they're moving a bit closer there. Oh, now they're starting to bomb and kill us. Who's defending you? Who's stopping them from doing what they're doing? And again, I say that very vaguely because the version of history we've been fed about the Second World War, what is the accuracy of that? We all need to be skeptical of the version of history that we've been fed. But what we are seeing is that a nation is illegally bombing others. It's claiming that, oh, they've killed 1,000 of us, so our right to defend ourselves is to kill 100,000 of them. And completely bomb all of that land and completely obliterate it. And randomly kill women and children. Just shoot them. They're no threat to us. We'll just wipe them all out. That's how it gets presented by the media, by the likes of Piers Morgan, by the likes of the BBC. Oh, Israel has a right to defend itself. by the IDF just wiping people out, raping people. Oh, they've got a right to defend themselves. Israel, always the victim. Yeah, they're allowed. Why is that? Oh, because they own the banking system of the world. Yeah, they own everything. They own the algorithms. They own the information system. They've got all the leverage over governments. They own Mossad, the CIA, MI6, the secret services. Oh, it's the secret army of the bankers, isn't it? Affecting regime. Yeah, controlling governments. If they can't control you, they take you out. If you don't serve their agenda, they take you out. Your people will serve us. And clearly, they've got that much leverage over Donald Trump. They've got Donald Trump on a leash. So Donald Trump just uses the might of the US war machine, the empire, to perpetrate the agenda of the controlling banking class, which rapes all of the resources of the planet, rapes every single one of us. And that's what it chooses to do. Now, you know, anybody that would be talking about it like this would be labelled, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. And I didn't consider it like this back in 2021. No, I didn't take the time. I didn't see it this way. But what I did see was that I saw a sport and I saw them break the rules of that sport. And I found it rather strange that not a single person in the world's media could explain just what it was that I knew and various other people seemed to know as well. Over 100,000 people signed a petition because they knew that something was wrong. They didn't necessarily know exactly why it was wrong. One of the reasons they didn't know exactly why it was wrong is because they'd been lied to by the media and therefore they've been conditioned of a falsehood. They've been conditioned by Martin Brundle for years that, oh, I don't like the unlapping procedure. Will they do the unlapping procedure? I'm not sure they will. Do they have to do that? Oh, they're doing it. I don't like that. I think they should just drop back to the back of the field. They've been lapped already. They should stay lapped and just drop back. That was what Martin Brundle has said for years. You weren't told the truth. Why weren't you told the truth? Oh, it's a tool of manipulation to keep you on the edge of the seat. Watch a Grand Prix. Oh, safety car! Safety car! What's going to happen now? It's spin the wheel time, everybody. And that's the way it was sold to you. Oh, it's a safety car. Shit can happen now. Chaos. That's thrown a spanner in the work. What you're going to see is all these cars. Some of them will go into the pits. Some won't. Everybody's going to bunch up. What's going to happen now? Nobody knows. No, but you do know. And you do know. And it's quite simple. There's been a disturbance. It's caused a safety concern. Governing body has got a requirement to make things safe. But in doing that, the measures that it uses impact the race. They impact sporting fairness, and prior to the resumption of the race, you have to reset sporting fairness to everybody. And there is a regulation that needs to be carried out to do that. And that regulation is carried out every time. But they don't tell you that way. They don't explain it. They keep you thick. They keep you in the dark. Because by doing that, they can manipulate you. They keep the population dumb. They exploit you by feeding you with a false narrative. They exploit each and every one of us. Seeing it happen, seeing every form of media do that, started waking me up. And as a result of that, I'm now starting to see the mechanics. And I'm not saying I'm the expert. I'm far from being the expert. This is very, very layered and they don't want us to see the truth. And so they have got, They've got so many things, so many distractions, so many diversions, that to think that we actually understand the full nature of their control over the system and the world that we live in, we would be naive to think that we understand it in full. But it's an evolution of understanding, and it's trying to wake up to what is happening and certain levels of power and exploitation that impact our world. And it's something that we need to rise up against and challenge, because otherwise, like Gaza, like the Lebanon, like the innocent citizens of Iran, you could be next. They don't care about you. It's all a facade. The notion of democracy, all a facade. It's an evil empire of narcissists, cunts who don't care about people, see people as slave class people for exploitation, to be sacrificed, because they'll happily sacrifice all the people. Yeah, you go and fight that war for us. You go over there and kill them for us. You're killing them. You're protecting us. You're liberating them people by killing them. You're doing that. You're fighting for freedom. And what that freedom does, it gives all the oil to the banking class. Yeah, well done you. Yeah, how many thousands of British people who were mind conditioned that you were defending people? You were defending all of our lives. All of the American troops. Oh, yeah, you were defending everybody's lives. No, what you weren't, you were sent out into a killing arena to kill and be killed to enrich the banking class. That's what you were doing, sadly. Decent people, often decent people, who thought that they were doing something for the benefit of people, for the protection of people. And now many of those people realise how they were used. This is how the world is waking up. There needs to be no hiding place for these corrupt bastards who are using each and every one of us. We need to be spreading this information. We need to be waking everybody up to the corruption. Those people, the Epstein class people, there needs to be consequences. These leaders that are taking us into wars, killing people, there needs to be consequences for each and every one of them. The banking class who are making billions through exploitation, through illegal insider trading, where they exploit us, stealing from us, enriching themselves, there needs to be consequences for. All of their gains need to be clawed back so that that pays for the improvements of the infrastructure, the improvements to the world that we live in. Not enabled for them to hoard so that they can have 20 Bugattis parked on their drives and 3 super yachts and 2 islands each and however many bunkers for when they set the nukes on the planet and keep themselves safe. There needs to be consequences. Start waking up, everybody. Start waking up. This is far bigger than Formula One. That was a global fraud. It's never going to go away. It was a global fraud. They'll try and rewrite history. They tried to rewrite it real time. Wake people up. Never forget.